I'm like, yeah, I think I had it off somehow.
How was your day today?
It was good. Really busy. It's been really busy days lately. Extremely
How,
busy.
how come? What's been so busy?
I think I'm working a lot more than when I'm out in the field. So I do
Okay.
say, and I've been having to work from home because of the quarantine and all that.
Yeah.
So I'm not scheduled to go back in the field until probably get 3 weeks from now or something. So I'm having to do everything online and, it's
Yeah.
just conference calls and all that fun stuff. So
Gotcha. Gotcha. So where are you located at?
in El Paso, Texas.
Okay. So you guys aren't like back up and running yet, or you are?
We are slowly.
Okay.
So restaurants already opened to a limited capacity.
Hmm.
And then the gyms finally opened last week. So that's
Yeah.
really
I
um,
went today was my first day back to the gym. And it
oh,
was, yeah, it was interesting. It was like, it was all separated, like 6 feet apart, all the machines, a lot of like cleaning supplies, like in every section. Like they had stopped some machines like from working, like, took them off the floor. So there'll be more space.
yeah.
Let me see what else. They require masks. They require a temperature check for everyone that walks in. So the mask wasn't a problem with like lifting. It
Mhm.
became a problem when I went on the Stairmaster and I tried to do like five. I was going to do 30 minutes. I did 5 and I was like, I'm going to pass out. So
This isn't happening. I think I go to a bunch of different gyms here in El Paso, and
mhm,
one of them does require the mask. Another
yeah,
one requires only gloves. And then there's another one that doesn't really require either or. You have to clean everything. And
yeah. I
it
think,
just,
go ahead. I'm sorry.
no, it just depends on where you're going
Yeah.
here.
I think part of the whole issue, like that, and I and some other people like have kind of vocalized about this thing is nothing is really standardized. Like every state is different. Every, facility seems to do their own thing. Like, so it's just kind of like, well, what are the rules? Like what's going on? So, you
Yeah.
know, the girl at the front desk, she told me she was so thankful that I like didn't like get upset with her for the temperature check, because she was saying a lot of people were just so irritated that they had to wear masks and everything. And she was like, look, that's just how it is right now. So anyways,
It is, but a lot of people get upset, like
yeah.
restaurants. I went out with my son last week, and there was a table close to us that, the lady was so upset, and we just have to be patient. We're
Yeah. Yeah. People are losing their minds, man. That's all it took, was to take away people's restaurants and gyms.
exactly, but
So
it's interesting. It has been for sure.
So how did you get by um, during the time where the gyms were closed? Because I mean, so like just, if anybody didn't get a chance to check out, they should definitely check out your Instagram page. I'll note it on the bottom, but you've got, considerable amount of muscle. How did you deal with, being in the quarantine and not being able to lift, not being able to do what you usually do to keep that muscle on?
It was definitely interesting. So I was 3 weeks out for my pro debut, actually, before all of this went down. So that was interesting.
Wow.
I was near to ready. I had a few pounds to go to
Hmm.
shed. And then, of course, the whole dehydration period and depletion period. So,
Right.
so that was rough, because then everything got canceled and postponed. So then not being able to lift was huge. So, the first thing I did was just I went and bought dumbbells and
Hmm.
a barbell. I actually went build a squat rack in my house, my garage. So
You did build one?
it's a super simple one, just 2 pieces of wood, and just a
Hmm.
very, very simple one for me, for my height. I'm pretty short, so
Yeah.
it was like just for me. So it was interesting because I had to be really creative and just stay on track with food, especially. So I
Yeah.
had to go on like a forced off season, to call it
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
And I had to go in a reverse diet and, decrease cardio, just a bunch of different things that played into the equation. It worked out well just because my coach was able to pull it off in terms of, I don't think I lost a lot of muscle, but like I said, I was doing as much as I could at home and just following my diet. So it was interesting for sure.
Yeah. So you said you went on a mini off season. Like, did you maintain like that body fat? Did you gain some weight or what?
No, I actually ended up gaining some weight. I had been on prep since November, like towards the end of November. So I was, like I said, pretty much ready to compete. So, I mean, the body can only sustain so much, when you're looking at health. And we didn't know. We didn't know what was going to happen, how long this was going to be extended. So we decided to go into a bit of an off season and just kind of let my body rest in terms of diet, because I was, already with very low carbs because I was close. So we did a reverse diet, which of course ends up turning out to be an increase in weight. Not necessarily fat, although there's fat involved in.
Right.
But I ended up, I think I'm about 8 to 10 pounds over what I was 2 months ago.
That's not bad at all.
It's not bad at all. So we're kind of in the process of deciding if I'm going to go back into prep right away or I'm going to wait for a little bit. My coach wants me to go back into prep right away and try and shoot for August.
So what's in August? Is there a show that you're like actually gunning for? Or are you just taking that as just a month where you think people are just going to start doing more shows?
We're just kind of looking at different ones because as of right now, there's a few of the competitions that were moved to August. So at least the one that I was thinking of that I was going to do in April, that one for sure is postponed for August. So I might just end up doing that. That's in Savannah, Georgia. If not, there's a bunch of them. They moved the Olympia as well. So
yeah, I think they moved the Olympia to December, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So the qualification deadline, I think it's October 16th. So there's plenty of time to try and qualify for the Olympia stage.
So that's the goal, just to pick the right show, try to win it and go?
Definitely. And it may not just be one show, obviously, probably quite a few of them.
Okay. Well, yeah, you will have to time it, like, so you might have to go back to back to back. Are you good with like trying to maintain that peak?
Oh, definitely. So last year I did 3 competitions kind of back to back. So that worked out well. My body responds really well. I have an amazing coach, so that helps a lot too. And he's able to manage diet and exercise and everything. So it works.
Okay. So how did you let's kind of like go backwards a little bit. How did you get into training and fitness in general?
Well, I've always kind of done something. And before I started doing bodybuilding, I did CrossFit for a little while and then started getting a bunch of injuries.
I was just about to say, not CrossFit.
I have to say, I came into that. And then I got smarter. Yes, I did say that. And so I stopped and I took a little bit of a time off from all exercising and stuff, which ended up in not such a good shape. So then I decided to get back into fitness and I started doing just the regular like lifting and cardio. I got with a local coach here in El Paso. And he's the one that convinced me to do a competition. Because I've always admired, there was a couple of competitors in the gym and I've always admired them so much. And my coach was always like, you can do it. You're so committed and you're so disciplined and dedicated that you can probably do it. So I decided to do it. I was like, I'll do one and then say I did it once in my life. And that turned out to being an addiction and a hobby for me, my passion. So... So that's how it all started. And this was in 2016. My first competition was in 2016.
So when did you actually get your pro card?
Barely last year.
So last year. So it took just a couple of years.
July of last year, I got my pro card.
Yeah, that's cool. Did you start off in figure or did you consider any other divisions?
So my first competition, I did both bikini and figure. That was out for me. I did not like the bikini category. I think my body just tends to be a little more muscular Even since then, even though it's still, like, I was small compared to now. Not that I'm huge or anything now, but I have put a little bit of size. And I like figure a lot. It's my passion. So I did try the bikini and enjoyed it and liked it. And then that was that. Then I just focused on growing and going into figure.
Well, it's hard to see you in bikini. Like and I mean, again, I obviously, like, you know, like pictures isn't the same as like seeing you live, but I mean, you look very muscular in pictures. So it's hard to even imagine you being in like in a bikini category.
Yeah, I couldn't even imagine it now. My coach's wife I was sending her pictures the other day. And I was like, look, you know, my progress. She's like, I can't even picture you without muscles right now. Because she met me, you know, barely a couple years ago. So yes, it was fun while it lasted. Let's put it that way.
Gotcha. So what about the other direction? Have you ever thought about going to physique?
I have, yes. I'm not ready to get there or go there yet, but I've thought about it. I like muscles, so, and I think right now, I was talking to my coach a little bit about it too. I'm kind of close to that borderline, but I will still need to put a lot more size, especially on my back. So a lot of work has to be done to go that direction, but I did get my pro card in figure, so I want to definitely at least start competing in figure.
Yeah. Well, you never know. I mean, you might do very well in figure and then decide, hey, you know, might as well just go ahead and stay here. So
it might just happen. Who knows? Being on stage without heels is kind of enticing now.
Without heels?
That's always like, that sounds really good.
Yeah. Well, the you know, the way they pose is, you know, so different, because physique is much more of like a dynamic posing, you know?
Yes, definitely. Has to be there's a routine to it, and choreography and all that. It's fun. So I don't completely say no to that yet. We'll see.
So you mentioned like working on your back. Is there particular, and it might be, like you said, your back, but is there a particular body part that you're like trying to develop when you go off season?
Definitely my back is a big one.
Yeah.
Last year our focus was back and hamstrings and glutes, and that was definitely accomplished for sure. Like I said, I was really close to being on stage, so we were able to see a lot of the progress. So it'll be interesting to see once I lean back out, but that's definitely a big focus for me. It's kind of that one part. We all have that one muscle or group or that we can develop as quick or as well. So that's definitely it for me, my back.
Yeah. As they say, as you slam like whatever it was down. So they say that like shows are, you know, kind of one from the back. So that's, you know, that's probably like a good thing to try to develop.
Definitely. Yeah.
How is your like diet as far as like your ability to stay on track? Are you like good with dieting, with food, or you have a hard time staying, you know, the course?
I'm actually really good at following my diet. Once I get into that prep mindset, it all starts here and it stays here for me. So that's the one thing I found out when I started doing that I was actually good at it. It's hard. I'm not going to say it's easy, because it's never easy for anybody. But once I'm focused, I stay on track, and I don't cheat. I don't, anybody that knows me well knows that I just follow my plan. I kind of put blinders on and I just do what I got to do. And you know what also helps too is the diet that my coach gives me is really good. It's, you know, I'm never really without carbs ever. Even when I'm in depletion mode, I'm with very little carbs, but I'm never without carbs. So it helps.
Is it spread like throughout the day, or you have it? How do you break that down? And I know he does your dieting, but how does he manage that with you?
It depends on where I'm at. So it depends on my progress on the stage that I'm in. So usually, I mean, I really never have carbs my last meal, but I think that's just for everybody. And then once I'm in the more depleted stage, we move it usually to after workout. just to fill up the glycogen levels. So that's usually where he puts it, or morning. So it could be either or.
Gotcha. So at this point, like you're looking to compete in figure, are you also like coaching anybody or training? Do you have clients or do you just do sales?
Well, up until very recently, I was not thinking about taking on clients or doing anything, but with everything, I've had a lot of time to think about where I'm going with this and what I want to do with this, because this is my passion. And I actually decided to start coaching.
Okay.
So I'm going to start taking on clients for online coaching and nutrition plans, or both. So depending on, the needs. But online, because I do have my full-time job. So that'll be the start of it, and then we'll see where it goes from there.
Yeah, I mean that seems to be like a good move, because with your experience, and then a lot of, especially in the market of women, like a lot of women are trying to get healthier, especially with this quarantine going on. Everybody's thinking now health, trying to build up their immune system. So I think that's like a really good move for you to do that, for sure.
I think so too. And it's something, I've thought about it. I've played with the idea for a while now. I get asked a lot. I get a lot of, messages and questions on, do I coach? Do I do nutrition plans? And it's always been no, no, no. Finally, I'm like, people ask me all the time. So why not?
Yeah.
And it's something that I really enjoy.
Right. So, because it's like bodybuilding only lasts forever, right? Or only lasts, so not forever, sorry. And so, you want something, that you can kind of grab onto, maybe in the same field, but, in the future. So that's a good idea. Let me ask you this. I guess I'm assuming that you're Hispanic, right? Correct?
Yes, I am.
All right. So were you born in Texas, or were you born somewhere else?
I was born in Texas, in El Paso, Texas, but I was raised in Mexico, in Juarez, which is the border city with El Paso, Texas.
Okay.
I was raised there. I lived there all my life up until I went to college.
So I was going to ask you, how are your parents and your family members looking at your progression in in bodybuilding fitness?
That's an interesting question, actually. That was a challenge to a certain extent. I come from a very conservative Mexican family. So needless to say, this is not very common for a female. So it was a challenge. My dad's always supported me 100% from day one. That's just how my dad is. So I never had an issue or anything with him. My mom was a little different. It was interesting trying to get her to understand that this is different, but this is what I like. I'm just not the typical normal person, or Hispanic female, I guess I should say. But now that they see that I love this and I get so much out of it, they're very supportive. They really are. My brother's extremely supportive all the time too. So it's kind of nice.
I was gonna ask you if you have siblings. Do your siblings train as well, or no?
No, they don't. I have a younger brother, and he hates weight training, but he loves golfing. So
okay, well, okay. I guess that's something.
Yeah, they don't. No, really, nobody in my family does this. I'm like the first person, and even my son doesn't seem interested now. We'll see later. But
how old is your son?
He's 10.
Oh well, he's very young. He gets.
Yes. So he doesn't seem very interested right now. We'll see later on.
Yeah, when he gets interested in girls, he's going to get interested in weightlifting.
That's exactly
sure.
Exactly what I'm thinking.
Yeah. So when you weight train, do you generally, so there's different philosophies, right, of weight training, of the high volume, lower weights, time under tension, heavy lifting. How do you train to put on that kind of muscle?
I do it all.
Okay.
All. It just, I don't have a set, let's say some people think, when you're trying to cut and lean out, you do more reps, less weight. I don't do that. So my philosophy has always been lift as heavy as I can every single time with the range of reps that I have. So it just depends on that. But I always go to failure. Always.
So with every set, you go to failure?
With weight. So weight-wise,
Okay.
I make sure that it's heavy enough to where my last rep is nearly impossible to do.
Gotcha. That's the way I train, but there's a lot of different, different ideas on that. So
there's different mentalities and different ideas. There's so many, there's so much out there that you can read and, how people have developed newer mechanisms and newer processes to do things.
Sure.
I follow a bunch of people that have new approaches to things, and I kind of try a little bit of here, a little bit there, and try and always keep an open mind and do research on that.
Yeah.
But
it's hard to negate anything because, like you said, there's so much information that if you have any kind of philosophy, you're almost guaranteed to find somebody that had success with it. So it's tough to like just completely throw something away because there's always somebody that had success with weight training. I was listening to Dave Palumbo. I don't know if you're aware of who he is, but he just had a podcast, and I can't remember the name of the bodybuilder. And I'm gonna be kicking myself later, but he's well known for lifting like small, very, very, very light weights. And he was around the era of LeBron and all that, and he had a great physique, huge, and like so it just depends, I guess, on your genetics and so forth.
It depends on a lot of things, and I think the thing is different bodies respond to different things and different approaches. So if you don't try them all and get to learn how your body works and develops better, then you're not doing the best that you can. Yeah. So it's always good. To me, it's always good to learn from other people and try different things. I always try and train with people that, have been in the industry for a long time, or other pros, or just people that have different mentalities and approaches, because you always learn.
Do you have like a regular training partner that you train with, or not really?
I don't. I train solo for the most part.
Is that intended?
Yes and no. I focus really well when I work by myself. It's worked for me. For a while, I had a training partner, and it worked out well as well. So it just, I don't know. I go off and on. I don't have to have one per se. It's kind of nice to have one, but it's hard to find a good training partner.
Right. I had a training partner before, and like, we had some gains here and there, but it was like, I feel like we did a lot more talking than we did weightlifting. And I was like, oh, this is no good.
It's hard to find a good training partner that can train as intense as you do, because I train really intense. That pushes you and it's not pulling you, or slowing you down. And then knows how to spot. It's interesting how many people do not know how to spot.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And it's always funny. Well, now that doesn't happen. I was going to say, whenever someone asks you to spot them, or vice versa at the gym. Of course, nobody's asking to spot anybody now at the gym, but
not right now.
For sure, not right now. So, but yeah, it was always interesting because I have a certain way that I spot, and I only like really like I'm there just to help you if you can't make it, but some people they'll grab, like, let's just say bench press, they'll grab onto the to the bar, and I'm like, okay, I'm still lifting it, like,
yeah, I don't need it yet.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I'm talking about. It's hard to find that perfect training partner. It really is. Yeah. Or, for me, it has been, at least. But I do enjoy working out with certain people. And those are the people that I consistently, every now and then, will schedule a workout with. Sure.
No, that makes sense. What about, so let me ask you this. It's a little bit just industry question. But so, I'm sure you, obviously, but they brought back, women's bodybuilding into the Olympia, and, Jake, now owns the Olympia and so forth. What do you think about that as far as women's body? Do you think it was a good idea to bring them back? Because, first they took them out, then, through the work of Jake and Rising Phoenix and all that, they now brought them back. Like, what do you think about all that?
I think it's a fantastic idea. And my whole reasoning behind it is it had just been changing so much from years past. And that's why, because, you know, bodybuilding was taken off. So some of these physique girls were huge, and, you know, they look like a bodybuilder category. So we were moving towards that a little too much, I think, to where physique girls look like bodybuilders and then figure girls look like physique girls. So it was just moving towards that way. So I think this will help to bring balance back again to different categories.
Bring balance to the force. Yeah.
Yes. Star Wars.
Yeah. Because if you,
I'm a huge Star Wars fan.
yeah, I'm a huge Star Wars fan too. We gotta talk about that later. What do you call it? Dalen Lynn Bailey, you know, won that first Physique Olympia, and then you look at Shanique Grant now, and it's, I mean, they're miles apart. Like the physiques are so different.
Yes, absolutely.
You know, Shanique looks like she could easily just jump into bodybuilding, like with, you know, as big as she is. I mean, and I say that as a compliment because I mean her proportions are so small, like as far as her waist and all that. So
yes, she's a freak of nature, I call it.
Yeah. I don't see anybody beating her.
No, she's just amazing.
Yeah.
Like her physique is absolutely amazing.
Yeah, very true. And then I actually like heard the interview with Dana not that long ago, and somebody posed that question, like how would you do if you stepped in physique, you know, division now, and she's like, not well at all, you know, basically like not good. So
not at all. I think it's the same thing if you ask Nicole Wilkins right now for figure.
Oh yeah.
Like if you ask her, she would probably say the same thing. It's just, it's changed so much over the years. I think it's harder because putting on muscle for a woman is very hard. Yeah. So I think it's just become harder and harder, which is not necessarily a bad thing, but it's.
Do you see that in like that trend where everyone is getting more muscular and bigger? Have
Absolutely.
You noticed that?
It had been like that. This is why I think bringing bodybuilding back for females, I think that'll help too. It'll help keep that instead of heading more and more and more towards bigger and more muscular physiques.
See, that's interesting that you say that because you're the second person. I've interviewed quite a few female athletes, and you're only the second person to say that. Most say, "Oh, well, this will cause an escalation of getting like bigger," but you're the second person to say like that basically using bodybuilding as like a roof would now like kind of put everybody, you know, into their own categories. So it's, I mean, that's interesting. And now I'm like, before I didn't see it, but now like I'm starting to get that vibe, you know, that thought process. So yeah, very cool. Very cool. So, you know, are you going to go in prep right now? Like, is that with the idea?
That's the plan. Yes, absolutely. So I am actually scheduled. I'm going to get my blood work done tomorrow, and then we'll probably end up going full blown back in prep next week. So I was a little, like I said, I was iffy about it, if I wanted to go back on prep right away, or I wanted to wait for a little bit, see how things worked out, and then do something in October. But I woke up yesterday thinking that I'm going to step on that Olympia stage soon.
Yeah.
So yes.
Well, if you think it, yeah, it'll happen for sure.
Yeah. So yes, the answer is yes. I'm going back on prep ASAP.
Awesome. Well, hey, to wrap up, I mean, first of all, thank you so much for coming on the show. It was really fun. And to wrap up, I know you said you're starting to take on like, you know, helping people with nutrition and clients. Is there like a best way to contact you that you want to just kind of plug that in right now?
Yes, absolutely. So my Instagram is probably one of the best options, and I'm under @FitRoss_Rosario_IFBB Pro. And that's one of the easiest ways. The other one is through email. So my email is fitrosco, so FITROSCO.com.
Awesome. And I'll tag all that on the bottom of this video. So everybody go ahead and go and check her out.
Thank you.
Thanks so much.
It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was. We'll have to have you back on. Maybe when some interesting things happen, I'll get your opinion on it.
Sounds good. That
Awesome.
would be awesome. Thank
Yeah,
you.
thank you. Take care.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.